Welcome to Learn English Podcast.
Welcome to Learn English Podcast YouTube channel. Hello and welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are putting aside the big global topics for a moment.
Yeah, no quantum physics today.
No, none of that. We're focusing on something, well, I think is really crucial if you're getting comfortable with English. That's the wonderful, sometimes confusing world of idioms.
Ah, yes. The fun stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our mission, like always, is to sort of give you a little shortcut, a way into how native speakers actually talk by unpacking these phrases they use all the time.
They really are like a hidden layer of language, aren't they? They carry so much feeling and tone, stuff that just saying the literal words doesn't quite capture.
Totally. And if you want to sound natural, really natural, you kind of need to get your head around these.
And maybe even try throwing one in yourself now and then.
Right. So the one we're tackling today uses some, let's say, delightfully messy imagery.
Messy's a good word for it.
Speaking of messy, actually, I couldn't help but notice something when we started. And I'm saying this gently, you know.
Uh-oh. What is it?
Your hair. It's got an interesting thing going on today. It's definitely, well, it's different from your usual look. What happened there?
Oh, you noticed? Right off the bat, huh? Funny. Yeah, I guess it looks a bit wild.
A little bit windswept, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Well, truth is, I just got completely bored this morning, you know.
Yeah.
Same old style.
Uh-huh.
So I thought, right, I'm going to try this new thing I saw online. Looked amazing in the video. Very intricate.
Intricate hairstyle video. Sounds dangerous. Lots of steps.
Oh, yeah. Twisting, pinning, needed about 5 different products placed just so. It was ambitious.
Okay, ambitious is one word for it. Sounds like quite the morning project.
Yeah.
And the outcome of this ambitious styling session.
Well, let's just say it didn't quite go to plan.
Wow.
It was genuinely tricky, much harder than it looked. And after, maybe 40 minutes, fighting with the brush, peering in the mirror.
40 minutes, wow.
Yeah, I finally had to admit defeat. The sad truth is, I ended up making a real pig's ear of it. My hair is just a mess.
Uh-huh. There it is. And just like that, you've handed us our idiom on a silver platter. Or perhaps a messy platter.
Yeah, definitely a messy one today.
Making a real pig's ear of it. It just perfectly sums up that feeling, doesn't it? You put in all this effort, maybe you had high hopes.
Definitely had high hopes.
And the result is just chaos.
Yeah.
Total frustrating failure. We've all been there. Hair, cooking, trying to build that flat pack furniture.
Oh, don't mention the flat pack furniture. That's prime territory.
Exactly. The struggle is real, as they say.
It is. But hang on, let's pause there because this is where it gets interesting linguistically, right?
Okay.
Why a pig's ear? I mean, it's such a weird image. We're talking about messing something up, doing a bad job. What does a part of a pig have to do with any of that?
That's the fun of idioms, isn't it? These seemingly random connections. Pig's ear equals bad haircut. How?
There must be some logic behind it somewhere, though. It can't just be completely random, can it?
I suspect you know the answer to that. There's usually a story, or at least a related idea.
Well, you're right. While pinpointing the exact birth moment of make a pig's ear of it is tricky, it's almost certainly related to a much older and maybe more logical saying.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the older one?
The older one is, you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear.
Ah. Okay, now that makes immediate sense. Silk.
Yeah,
Luxurious, smooth, expensive.
right.
A sow is a female pig, right?
Yeah.
Is, well, kind of tough, leathery, maybe a bit bristly.
Mm-hmm.
Not something you'd make a nice purse from.
Exactly. You got it. That older idiom is all about the raw materials. You just can't create something fine and high quality if you start with something fundamentally unsuitable or, inferior.
Okay, so how does that connect back to making a pig's ear of something? Because now it sounds like you're creating the bad thing.
Precisely. Think about it this way. If you make a pig's ear of something, you've kind of done the opposite of the old saying. You might have started with perfectly good materials or a straightforward task, potential silk, let's say.
Right, like you had all the right ingredients for the cake or the instructions for the furniture were clear.
Yeah, but your execution, your work was so poor, so clumsy, that you turned that potential silk into the sow's ear. You made the end result rough, messy, low quality. You basically ruined it.
Oh, I see. So it's not just that the result is bad, like a pig's ear. It's that you are the one who made it that way through your actions. You transformed it into a mess.
That's the core idea, yeah. It's about the process leading to a poor outcome because of how it was done.
That's actually quite clever. It adds a layer of well, responsibility for the mass.
It does, and understanding that connection, between the two sayings helps you appreciate the idiom more, I think. It's not just random.
Okay, so let's nail down the basic definition for everyone listening. If you make a pig's ear of something.
It means you did it badly, really badly. You messed it up completely. Simple as that, really.
Got it. And the tone, you wouldn't say this about, like, a failed space launch, presumably.
Hey, probably not, no. It's definitely informal. It's got a lighthearted feel, even though you're talking about failure.
Right. More for everyday mistakes. And you mentioned earlier it has a particular flavor.
Yeah, it's very much associated with British English. You hear it a lot more in the UK and places influenced by British English. It's got that slightly self-mocking, understated quality that's quite common in British humor about things going wrong.
Understated failure. That sounds very British.
It is. It's not angry or aggressive. It's usually said with a bit of a sigh or a rueful laugh. It's an admission of, oops, didn't do that well, did I?
Okay. And you said it's versatile. It's not just for bad haircuts or cooking.
Oh yeah, hugely versatile. That's the great thing about it. You can use it for almost any task or situation where things went wrong because of poor execution. Physical stuff, work stuff, creative stuff.
All right, let's explore that. Examples are always the best way to get a feel for these things. Where else might we hear this delightful phrase?
Well, you mentioned flat pack furniture, but let's take another universally relatable physical challenge.
Uh-oh. I have a bad feeling about this.
Parking a car. Specifically, the dreaded parallel park.
Oh, the parallel park, yes.
Yeah.
Public humiliation waiting to happen. I actually saw a perfect example the other day. It was almost performance art.
Do tell. We need the details.
Okay, so this car pulls up, trying to get into this space that was honestly pretty tight, maybe just big enough.
The moment of truth.
Right. And the driver starts reversing, angles all wrong, hits the curb, maybe, no, pulls forward again, straightens up, tries again.
A readjustment dance. Very familiar.
Exactly. Goes back again, gets halfway in, but it's crooked. Nope. Pulls out again. Then tries a slightly different starting position. Back in. Still not right. I actually counted. They went back and forth, in and out, trying to wiggle into this space about 5 times.
5 attempts. That's serious commitment. Or desperation.
Bit of both, I think. You could almost hear the gears grinding, the sighs from inside the car. The whole street was practically watching by this point.
That painful, slow-motion failure. That's key to the pig's ear feeling, isn't it? It's not just failing, it's failing messily.
Absolutely. It's the visible struggle. And you're thinking, okay, 5th time lucky, surely they'll nail it now.
So did they? Did they achieve parking perfection on attempt 5?
Nope.
Ah.
Complete opposite. After all that effort, all that back and forth drama, they just kind of gave up. Pulled the car mostly into the space, but left it parked completely diagonally.
Diagonally. Oh dear.
Yeah. Like the front wheel was miles from the curb, the back end was sticking out, taking up basically 1.5 spaces. It was just wrong.
That is a textbook pig's ear, a classic pig's ear of parking. All that effort, all that time, and the final result is just fundamentally flawed and messy.
Couldn't have planned it worse, really. It perfectly shows that idea. High effort, 0 success, visually disastrous outcome.
And it wasn't like the space itself was impossible, probably. It was the way they tried to do it. They made a pig's ear of the attempt.
Exactly. Okay, so from the physical, like parking, where else does this pop up? You mentioned work.
Yeah, absolutely. It moves pretty easily from, tangible things like a badly parked car to more abstract things like how you perform or communicate.
So like giving a presentation.
Yeah.
That can definitely go wrong.
Oh, for sure. The example we had was someone talking about exactly that. They had a big, important presentation at work. They had prepared. They knew their stuff.
But then the nerves kicked in.
Sounds like it. Because afterwards they were recounting it and said something like, oh, I just completely lost my place. I messed up my words. I made a right pig's ear of the presentation.
Okay, a right pig's ear. We'll come back to that word right later, I think. But using that phrase in a work context, is that, okay, if you're trying to sound professional, telling your boss you made a pig's ear of something sounds a bit informal, maybe even a bit childish.
That's a really good question, actually, and it touches on something important. Knowing when to use informal language. You're right, you probably wouldn't write, made a pig's ear of the Q3 report in a formal email to the board.
Definitely not.
You'd say something more neutral, like, the report requires further revision or whatever. But talking to colleagues, or maybe even a supported manager, depending on the workplace culture, using an idiom like this can actually be quite effective.
How so? Why not just say, I messed up or I did badly?
Because I messed up can sound a bit blunt, maybe even defensive. I made a pig's ear of it. does something different. It's self-deprecating, it acknowledges the failure, yes, but it does it with a touch of humor and humility.
Ah, so it makes you seem more human, less like a corporate robot who failed.
Exactly. It kind of signals, yeah, no, that wasn't great. It was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? It invites a bit of shared understanding, maybe even empathy, rather than just harsh judgment, especially if the failure was down to something relatable like nerves or just having a bad day.
Like a social smoother over. You admit the mistake, but you frame it in a way that's less confrontational, more, oh well, these things happen.
Precisely. It softens the blow, makes you seem more relatable. It's a clever way to handle a minor professional blunder without making a huge deal out of it, while still owning the mistake.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about reading the room, knowing your audience.
Always. Now, where else do things frequently go wrong in a messy way?
Let me guess. The kitchen.
The kitchen. Fertile ground indeed. So many opportunities for making a pig's ear of things when cooking or baking.
Absolutely, especially baking. It's so precise. One wrong move.
Exactly. And the example here is a classic baking disaster. Someone was making a birthday cake for a friend. Sounded quite fancy.
Okay, measuring everything out carefully.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Flour, sugar, butter, vanilla. All the usual suspects. But somewhere along the line, maybe they got distracted checking their phone, or the doorbell rang.
Uh-oh, I sense impending doom.
They forgot a rather crucial ingredient.
Not the sugar,
Worse.
not the flour.
Even more fundamental, they forgot the eggs.
No, the eggs. Oh, that's fatal for a cake.
Right.
That's the binder, the structure.
Yeah.
Everything.
I know, you can just imagine the result. Not really a cake at all, more like a dense, crumbly biscuit, maybe like sweet concrete.
Flour and sugar cement, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, the disappointment.
Huge disappointment. And the baker's summary of the situation was perfect. They said, well, I made a bit of a pig's ear of it because I forgot to put the eggs in. Whoops.
A bit of a pig's ear. That's interesting. Forgetting the eggs feels like more than a bit of a disaster.
It does, doesn't it? And that actually leads us nicely into the next point. But notice the phrasing. By saying a bit of, they're kind of downplaying it slightly.
Right, acknowledging the mistake, but maybe trying to minimize the scale of the catastrophe.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a total write-off, maybe, even though it probably was.
Exactly. It shows how you can modify the phrase. But the core situation is perfect.
Yeah.
They put in the effort, measured things out, but one key mistake in the process ruined the final product. High effort, zero edible outcome, total mess up.
Okay, so that use of a bit of and the earlier use of real with your hair, right with the presentation, these little extra words seem important.
They are, because English speakers love to fiddle with intensity. If something goes wrong, we rarely just state the fact. We like to emphasize how wrong it went. Or sometimes, like with the cake, downplay it.
So it's about adding color and precision to the level of failure.
Exactly. It's about calibrating the disaster. Let's look at those modifiers properly.
Okay, let's start with the one you used for your hair disaster, real. I made a real pig's ear of it.
Right. Adding real is probably the most common way to intensify the phrase. It underlines the reality and the severity of the mess.
So it means it wasn't just a small error, it was genuinely bad, like undeniably a failure.
Yeah, pretty much. It adds weight. If you say, I made a real pig's ear of fixing the tap, it suggests the tap is now definitely leaking worse than before, or maybe it fell off entirely. It confirms the mess is significant.
It signals genuine frustration or embarrassment, maybe. Like, I really should have done better, but look at this mess.
That's often the feeling behind it, yes. It emphasizes the gap between intention and the awful reality. I thought I could follow the recipe, but I made a real pig's ear of the souffle, and it's completely flat.
Okay, clear. Now, the other intensifier we heard was right, like in I made a right pig's ear of the presentation.
Yeah.
How is that different from real?
Good question. Right, used this way feels a little more colloquial, perhaps a bit more strongly British English than real, although both are common. It emphasizes the completeness, the sheer totality of the mess-up.
So if real means genuinely bad, does right mean completely and utterly bad, like 100% disaster?
That's a good way to put it. It implies there were no redeeming features. It was a thorough, unmitigated failure. There's often a sense of exasperation with right, too.
Exasperation. How so?
Like, I cannot believe how badly I managed to mess this simple thing up.
There's a slightly stronger tone of self-mockery or disbelief in the scale of the incompetence, perhaps. Ah, I see. So the diagonal parking incident, there wasn't just a real pig's ear, it was definitely a right pig's ear, because it was so comprehensively wrong.
Absolutely. That's a perfect candidate for a right pig's ear. It captures the totality of the failure and the likely feeling of the driver afterwards. Both real and right make the failure bigger, but right often has that extra bit of colloquial, exasperated punch.
Okay, so real for genuine severity,
Right.
right? For total exasperated completeness, especially in spoken British English.
You've got it. And then contrasting with those, we have the minimizer we saw with the cake.
I made a bit of a pig's ear of it.
Exactly. This is for when, yes, you messed up, but maybe it's not the end of the world. The damage is limited or it's easily fixable.
So if I was painting a room and got a few splashes of paint on the window frame,
Yeah, you might say, oops, made a bit of a pig's ear with the masking tape there. It acknowledges the flaw, but signals it's minor. You're controlling the scale of the admitted failure.
got it. That's really useful knowing how to dial the disaster up or down.
It's key for sounding natural. And there was one final example that really cemented this modification idea involving decorative shells.
Ah, yes, the poorly aligned shells. Like tiling, maybe? Something needing precision.
Exactly. Imagine someone carefully trying to stick shells in a neat row, maybe on a picture frame or something. They finish, they stand back, and
Oh, dear.
they're all crooked. Wobbly line.
Completely wonky. And the person looks at it and says, perhaps to someone else or just to themselves, look at those shells. Not one of them straight. I've made a right pig's ear of them, haven't I?
Using right again there captures that visual, undeniable mess. And the haven't I at the end, that's asking for agreement on how bad it is.
Exactly. It's rhetorical. You're pointing out the obvious flaw in your own work and inviting the listener to agree on the scale of the disaster. It's a very common conversational pattern. That self-critical observation followed by a tag question and make a right pig's ear of it fits perfectly into that moment of resigned failure.
It's a way of saying, look how badly I messed this up. Can you believe it? Precisely. Okay, so we've covered the origin, the meaning, the tone, the versatility, and those crucial modifiers. Seems like a good time to pull it all together.
Agreed. Let's do a quick recap for everyone listening. Make sure the key points are crystal clear.
Fire away.
Okay. First, the main definition. To make a pig's ear of something simply means you did something badly, you messed it up completely.
Got it.
Second, those modifiers are your friends for adding nuance. Use real to stress the genuine severity of the mess. Use right to emphasize the total, utter completeness of the failure, often with a more colloquial British feel.
Right.
And use a bit of, if you want to downplay the mistake, suggest it was minor or limited.
Perfect.
And third, remember the context. It's an informal, usually lighthearted idiom. Very common in British English. Use it for self-deprecating humor about everyday failures where effort resulted in a mess.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's the essence of it.
So, the big question for someone learning English, how do they actually start using this? It feels a bit scary to try out an idiom.
It can be. My top tip is always this. Start small and low stakes. Don't save it for describing a major work disaster the first time you use it.
Good point. Use it for something trivial first.
Exactly. The next time you say, tangle your headphones into a massive knot you can't undo.
Happens daily.
Right. Instead of just sighing, actually say out loud, maybe just to yourself, oh, great. Made a right pig's ear of these headphones.
Or if you try to wrap a present and the paper rips and the tape sticks everywhere.
Perfect example. Well, I've made a bit of a pig's ear wrapping this, haven't I?
Yeah.
Just using it, hearing yourself say it in a real, even tiny situation helps it stick.
That makes sense. Practice on the small messes first.
Yeah.
It embeds it in your active vocabulary.
That's the goal. Repetition, application. That's how you get comfortable.
Okay. Now, before we finish up, we should mention, as we often do, that there are more great learning resources available if you want to keep practicing your English beyond just this idiom.
Absolutely. If you enjoy reading interesting articles and improving your comprehension, the Reading Room series on the BBC Learning English website is fantastic.
Yeah, I saw some of the topics recently. They look really engaging. They're like magazine articles, but specifically written for English learners, right?
Exactly. Interesting topics, but with language support built in. For example, there's one debating the pros and cons of morning versus evening showers, a classic household debate.
Huh. I need to read that one. Settle some arguments.
Or, if you're into psychology or how the mind works, there's a piece on what magic tricks can actually teach us about our own brains and perception.
Ooh, interesting. Critical thinking through magic.
Yeah. And on a more social note, there's an article looking at why it can sometimes be challenging to make new friends when you're older and what strategies might help. Really relevant stuff.
Sounds great. And they come with extra features too, don't they, to help with the learning?
They do. You get highlighted vocabulary explained, comprehension questions to check you've understood the main points, and you can even download the audio of the article being read.
So you can read, listen, check your understanding. It's a really well-rounded way to practice. You can find all of that on the website.
Definitely worth checking out to make sure your overall English learning journey doesn't, well,
Doesn't become a pig's ear.
exactly. Avoid the pig's ear.
Well, I think we've thoroughly explored this one today. From sow's ears to silk purses, messy hair to diagonal parking. Hopefully you, our listener, feel ready to spot and maybe even make a pig's ear of something.
And hey, if you try using it and you feel you make a bit of a pig's ear of using the idiom itself the first few times, that's totally fine. That's learning. Keep at it. Messiness is part of the process.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for listening to Learn English Podcast. See you in the next episode, and don't make a pig's ear of your English practice.